Alright, hello, welcome to this video at Cantiague Park. Can't get through that way. Yeah, this looked like a pedestrian entrance, but it's not. Actually, there is no pedestrian entrance, you just have to walk on the road. Cantiague Park. Trying to get some peace and quiet in Cantiague Park because I gotta talk to you about something that's been going on that I actually have not been talking to you about. And that is the construction. For the past 5 weeks, they've been doing construction in the building where I live, and it's been horrible. They start in the morning and they go all day long. And I was never given any prior notice to that they would be doing this construction. And I just want you to hear a little bit of what it sounds like. So today they worked on, look at all these squirrels here. They're busy collecting nuts. It means the cold weather's coming. But they worked today on Sunday. It was the first time they ever did that, and I don't even think they're allowed to do that. Here's some fall color here. But I don't think they're allowed to do that, to work on Sunday, but they did. And this has been going on for 5 weeks. Imagine, you know, having to deal with this noise every day. You know, I have a disability. I can't work, so I don't go out early every day, you know, and I have to listen to the banging, the yelling. They curse at each other. It's unbelievable. And it reminds me of what Fran Lab, which is a channel here on YouTube, what she's going to start to go through. They're trying to force her out of the building, and I'm really worried. Maybe that's what's starting to happen to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being, you know, a negative guy and being, you know, because of my depression. But, I mean, why is it taking so long, you know? That's the thing. Why is it taking so long? That's what's unusual about it. And I figured I'd just tell you about that, because if I seem a little off lately, it's because I haven't been sleeping right for a while because of this construction. They have every right to do it, obviously. They're improving. They're obviously, the tenant moved out. They're, you know, renovating an apartment, which is good and all, but the fact that I wasn't giving any warning over it is unusual. I mean, one day I woke up and there was no water, and they turned off the water to install a new boiler, and they didn't even tell me. So I couldn't even take a shower that day. That happened a couple of weeks ago. I just don't know what to think, you know what I mean? Usually I'm very lucky. I have a very good landlord usually. They're very good, very on top of things, very, doing everything by the letter of the law and stuff. This is unusual that they did work on Sunday. Normally they don't do that kind of work on Sunday, so that's why I'm a little concerned. And it kind of reminds me of what Fran Lab, which is a channel here on YouTube. I'm going to put a link in the description below. Actually, I could put it in as a card. She is getting forced out of her lab because these uppity people are moving into the neighborhood. I see some really nice color over there we're going to check out. But these uppity people are moving into the neighborhood and driving up the prices. So the building she was in, basically, they're gutting all the apartments around her. Here's a look at the golf course, by the way. So they're gutting all the apartments around her, and she's trying to find a new place. And everywhere she's basically spoken about how everywhere she's been, because Philadelphia used to have a lot of problems, and now it's getting gentrified, and she's getting forced out. Now let me go on the left side so we can. So it's getting gentrified. She's getting forced out. And this is what's happening across Long Island too. It's the same thing. Everything is getting expensive. They really want to just price us out, you know. And, you know, I was very lucky to find a place to live in a safe community with good transportation, which Mineola is, even though it has some problems. It's much, much better than Westbury. And I'm very lucky to live there, but I'm worried that maybe that's the tactic that's going on here with me. I'm hoping not. Hopefully it's just the fact that they're using, I mean, it sounds like they're, you know, the construction people they're using are just not, you know, trying to use the cheapest ones possible. And, you know, there's only 2 people working. Maybe that's why it's just taking a long time. I don't know. But they argue with each other all the time, and I don't know what else to think. I mean, it's a little personal. I normally don't do this kind of stuff at all. But I'm just a little concerned. If you understand why I've seemed a little off lately, that's why. If it is that scenario, then I probably will have to leave Long Island, because price of housing are continue to be, well, actually they went down a little bit in the last report. They actually, it's one of the things, I'm going to talk to you about some news today while we're here. They did go down a little bit. The prices for housing went down a little bit by $20,000, the median house price on Long Island, which is good. The stock market is going down, so hopefully this is the start of a wind down in the cost of living, hopefully. But I'm not going to get my hopes up, especially if Cuomo gets reelected, because he's beyond, he's talking about, I spoke on the other video how the prices of consumer goods, like when you go out, even when you go out and get something to eat, has gone up drastically since Governor Cuomo became governor. And that's going to continue if he gets 4 more years. So this is Cantiague Park in Hicksville. I do see some really nice colors over there. Hopefully I can get to those trees over there. I don't know if you can see them in the distance. We're looking for some fall foliage today, even though it's cloudy. It is cool. It's a much better day than yesterday to walk around. This is a driving range over here. So they got a driving range here, and they got the golf course over there. Just take up like over half the park, because you know rich people love golf, so you know they got to take up all that space. Like I said, I don't hate rich people. I just wish they would have a little respect for people. That way they're first. You know, like when you're moving to a neighborhood that was formerly a working class area, have respect. You know, you can move in, but don't price the native people out, you know? And that's what they do. That's what they're doing to Fran Lab. And it's really unfortunate. You know, she's had to struggle a lot in her past, according to some videos, living in non-safe neighborhoods, very much like me when I live in Westbury. You know, and every time she finds a safe place to live, she gets priced out of it. So that's what I'm worried is happening to me. Oh, I finally found a safe place to live, and now they're going to force me out. And if that happens, I mean, I'm going to have to leave the island, because I don't really see where else I can go on Long Island, you know, because it's expensive everywhere that's safe. And it's getting to the point where I just feel unwelcome on the place I've lived my whole life. The foliage is in the miniature golf course. Of course it is. Hang on, maybe we can get close to it. Some really nice color over there. We'll walk around it. And like I said, I can't imagine living anywhere else. I said that in my other video. I'm just worried, that's all. You know, I'm just worried. I mean, Tom's River is a beautiful place, and they're very friendly people. The environment is beautiful, but it is not home. It is not where I've spent most of my life. It is not where I've forged memories. It is not where, you know, I have my friends. It is not where I have my family, you know.
I just want to interject for a moment about memories, because unfortunately last week I walked through a neighborhood that one of my high school girlfriends used to live in, southern part of Syosset, called Locust Grove, and where the house was, where we had a lot of memories, a house was gone. It was a nice, you know, simple ranch, and all over the place, these rich people and these McMansions just keep popping up. This is exactly what I mean about no respect for the people that were there first. So they've changed. It used to be a working class part of Syosset. Now it's becoming expensive and full of rich people, and I don't know where my girlfriend's parents live now, or my ex-girlfriend's parents live now. I mean, she was a high school girlfriend, but I guess they got priced out, just like so many others.
So, just talking about that. And I want to talk about some good news, actually, while I'm here. While we walk around and take a look at this foliage over here on the miniature golf course. I'm using my phone just because it's less conspicuous. It's more conspicuous. I don't know. I know the quality isn't as good as my camera, my Canon, but sometimes I just prefer doing it this way. But anyway, oh yeah, we got some foliage over here. Look at this. Here we go. So, here's this Cantiague Park here. But anyway, let me talk to you about some of the good news. We're getting new poles in Mineola. And I think it's partially due to some nice color there. It's partially due to maybe my video about all the fact that we need new poles, that it's a critical area and that we should have new poles. Maybe that finally, it's something to do with it. Let's take a look at this miniature golf course here for a minute. So it's good news. We're getting new poles in all the main roads in Mineola. So I'm glad that we're finally getting heard with that. There's the miniature golf course right there. The other thing is that the good news is that they're doing construction. I think it's next weekend in Hicksville. Only one track's going to be available going through Hicksville. Well, the good news is that it is going to they're going to have the Ronkonkoma train stop at Mineola to compensate, because the Huntington branch is only going to run every hour. Because they only have one track going through Hicksville, there's no way they can run the usual amount of service going through Hicksville. So fortunately, they're having the Ronkonkoma train stop at Mineola and accommodate us. That's good. So we are getting heard. I mean, I believe that I can make a difference, that I have made a difference here. And not just me, but Matt Camper, Andy's Randomness, and MTA Prodigy. We have made a difference together on trying to improve the quality of life. Even though we don't all see eye to eye on the issues and politics and stuff like that, we are working toward this common goal of trying to... We're actually pretty clean here. I don't see any garbage. So that's good news. But we are working for this common goal here on Long Island, and of making the transit better, improving the quality of life, talking about things the mainstream media doesn't talk about, and I think that's excellent. So let's see if maybe there's some color over here. I'm glad that we're doing that, and and I want to continue to be here on YouTube and be here on Long Island to do that for you. And I just hope that what's going on with the construction isn't part of me trying to get rid of me. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's not what's going on. I mean, it doesn't make any sense why they would do that. It's just that I've read about this kind of stuff online. Maybe it's probably just that they're renovating they're renovating an apartment, and they don't have a lot of people working on it. That's why it's taking so long. It's not fun having to listen to that noise. Look at this cute little squirrel. He's so busy looking for his nuts, he isn't even paying attention. And I'm standing right here, which is kind of cool. And if, God forbid, the worst happens, I won't just give up yet. I will just have to find another place on Long Island to live. But hopefully it doesn't happen. I want to stay in Mineola for a while until I get married, whatever, I just need that stability now, I need that stability. Moving is very hard. People have said, oh, when I've talked about some of the problems, just to move. No, I don't want to move. I like where I live. I like the mix of people in Mineola, Follow this little squirrel. Oh, this is so adorable. Look at it. Could have taken his picture, but he moved too fast. Here we got some more trees changing over here. So, I'm not, I'm not giving up at all, It's just, like I said, I don't want to leave the island. Could not imagine living anywhere else in my life. With all its problems, it's still got the right mix of everything for somebody like me. I've spent my whole life here. and I don't really want to go anywhere else, and I fight like hell to stay. I was here first before all these rich people, and I don't intend on going anywhere, alright? And I don't hate rich people. I just wish that some of these rich people would have respect for other people that are different than them, you know? And I'm particularly talking about those people in that block of towns there on the Babylon branch. They're just really obnoxious. They're just really, really obnoxious, those people. I mean, they are, they only want to be with their own kinds. You know, that block between Merrick and Massapequa Park, they get the special treatment. I was watching MTA Prodigy's video. He did an excellent video of Rockville Center and the tour there. That's a nice town, Rockville Center. It's actually not as snobby as the other towns are. It's still very expensive to live in, but you do have a mix of people. It's a little more like, you know, New York City. You have a little more diversity. So it's not like that block of towns, but it is expensive, and that's the problem on Long Island, is that anywhere safe, it's decent to live, is expensive. And everything is expensive. And we got to get the cost of things down. So I was very encouraged to see that the real estate prices have come down on Long Island. I thought I saw that on News 12 the other day, and hopefully they will continue to come down. Hopefully the stock market will continue to go down, and the prices of everything that have been overinflated for so long will come down. All right, because it's overvalued. All right, it really is. And these stockbrokers have had it good for too long. It's time for the party to end, and time for the rest of us to have a little bit of an easier time surviving. All right. So, this is a nice place. This is Cantiague Park again. And I just spit on the camera. Spit on my phone. Let's see. I'll clean it off, but what's going to happen? All right. I didn't do anything there. Zoom it out or zoom it in. Let me see. I don't like filming with the phone. I prefer the camera. But it's a little easier, a little less conspicuous doing it this way. Giving you this tour of Cantiague Park. Oh, Cantiague State Park. Oops, no, it's a county park. It is a county park. There are some nice colors, though, starting to pop up. You can see. So I love the fall when the leaves change. It's beautiful. And there's still a lot of leaves on the trees. I was worried after the storm yesterday that a lot of them would blow away, but no, that hasn't happened at all. So that's excellent. Nice playground here. I see some color over there. Let's see. I can definitely want to take some pictures of it, too. It's a nice place, you know. And there are a lot of good people on Long Island. Yes, we have a lot of, you know, arrogant people, but we have a lot of good people, too, that are struggling and, you know, need a voice. You know, and that's why I want to continue to do these videos, talk about, you know, the environmental issues and, you know, maybe a little bit of transportation. A little bit. Look at this cute little squirrel. My God, they're fast. They're really busy. Maybe that means it's going to be a cold winter. There he is. He's hiding on the other side of that tree. So, very nice place. Ah, yeah, I smell somebody smoking a joint. I bet you think it's those guys over there. It's way too accepted for people to smoke marijuana in public. However, on the other side of the coin, if we legalize marijuana, we can tax it and get revenue, which could help public transportation, which is an idea that's been... Oh my gosh, look over here. Oh, we got some colors over here. All right, we're going to definitely check out those colors. Before I got to go over here, though, let's check these out. Yeah, we got some over here. Those aren't too... Oh, maybe we do have some stronger colors. Okay. Right over here, look at this maple. Look at this. This is beautiful. Alright, I'm going to take a picture of that. Yeah, some really nice colors there. I do apologize for that. Kids listening to crap music. You know, I'm very fortunate to be on Long Island and to, you know, and I really appreciate the programs that help me, you know, and I'm very fortunate to be living somewhere safe. There are a lot of people that are stuck in places like Hempstead and Westbury and Uniondale and Roosevelt and Freeport that are just living a hell right now, you know. But I'm never going to forget the struggle I went through in Westbury, and the fact that there are people still there struggling, and it's not fair to them that they have to live with those problems. Anyway, let's, yeah, we got some nice color here too. Look at this. This tree here is really beautiful. I know it's cloudy, but, you know, these colors are so bright you don't really even need the sun to really show them off. Really beautiful. Alright, so let's resume here. Alright, so we'll continue here. I'm going to head in that direction. That sound here over there, by the way, is the Northern State Parkway over there. So yeah, a lot of leaves came down, but not all of them. We're going to head back to the spot where we saw some really nice cars. Yeah, these kids smoking weed. I don't know. These guys may be gangbangers. Who knows? They might have come in from Wasteberry, which is on the other side of the Wantagh Parkway over there. Probably did. But if you want to see more of that kind of crap in your neighborhood, vote for Cuomo by all means. That's what he's open borders. Oh, where did I see those guys? See them? They were looking. Was it this way or that way? I don't remember. Figure it out. Even though it's overcast, it's still, you still got some really nice colors that are out in certain areas. All right, let's see. We're over here, right? And we saw the colors. Oh, it was this way. Okay. All right. Yeah, these maples here are going nuts. So maples are the trees that are usually the most colorful, but oaks can put on some nice color too, as well as sassafras. So yeah, look at those. Really nice. See, the problem is that the phone cameras don't have image stabilization. So we'll just have to try to hold it steady. So you can see the color there. Alright, so here goes some foliage. There's some ball fields here. Actually pretty clean here. I don't see any trash, so it's very good. It's very good. It's excellent, actually. See if we can find some more fall foliage for you. Let's see over there, right down there. These trees really don't turn colors. These, what they're called. I forgot what these kind of maples are called. Some kind of maple, but they don't turn colors, unfortunately. Some over there, though. Oh, it's just good to get away from that noise, that construction noise. There's like no escape from that. It's horrible. It's like just banging constantly. Some more squirrels. Some more chick. Yeah. There you go. Oh. So, yeah, it's just annoying with that construction. Yeah, I wish, you know, I wish that they would just be limited to, like, say, between 10 and 5 on a weekday, you know? No weekends, you know? People who live in an apartment have a right to have weekends quiet, you know? And also, they also have a right to not be woken up very early in the morning. At least, you know, that's the way I feel about it. They arguing. Gosh, they always arguing with each other. It's ridiculous. There's some nice colors over there. Let's go over there. Let's check out those. There's the pool over there. There's a pool here too, by the way. when we get in now, I don't really want to go to those because it's partially in the field there. I don't want to get in the way of them playing soccer. I know Kevin, MTA Prodigy, is a big soccer fan. I'm sure he would appreciate that. It's the most popular sport in the world. Sorry, Yankee fans. Soccer is the most, I don't really follow it that much. I'm not really big on sports in general. I'm not a sports guy to begin with. I don't really follow many sports. Let's see if there's any foliage over there. I don't think I see any. Yeah, soccer. I don't think the soccer ball moves. Got football here. The soccer is way more popular than football. Most popular sport in the world. I'm not seeing too much foliage over here. Baseball game going on over here. I'm going to start heading out now. I was hoping to see a little more foliage. At least we got to see some. Let's see what I can do tomorrow, maybe, to see some foliage. You can see that there's sweet gum leaves on the tree there. Oh, there's some oak. What is that guy doing here? I don't know. I hope there aren't any bums in here. It is clean, though. You do see all kinds of people here, which is good. Yeah, that'll be it for the foliage. I don't see any more, unfortunately. I was hoping to see some more, but I guess not. There's a path that actually goes into the neighborhood over there, but I think we can get out this way, so I think we're going to go this way. I see these people walking this way, so I think we're going to walk this way. Yeah, there is a path. If you take that, it goes under the parkway, and then it comes out in Jericho, but we're not going to take that path. So it's a nice little park. Not Pine Barrens per se, but a nice place. I just needed to go somewhere and get away from that noise. It's just, I mean, I don't want to seem like I'm ungrateful or a complainer or anything. It's just that noise is just really, it's unbearable, I understand they got to do the work they got to do, but that noise was really unbearable. And we can get out that way, so I see people walking. Before I end this video, I'll just have one more part. That's the exit over there. That exit's right out into the neighborhood. So let me just wrap up this video in a good spot like here. Alright, I'm actually using the the forward-facing camera on my phone, so I haven't gotten in front of the camera in a while, so I'll just talk to you for a little bit while we wrap up this video here at Cantiague Park. Very much like I did the last time we were talking about the media. I remember making a video about News 12 saying that they don't cover enough local news, and I remember that very well. I want all my viewers to get along, all right? And I know there's been some arguments here in the comments section, and I understand people have different political views. That's part of what America is all about, obviously. But I don't like when people intimidate. I don't like when people attack each other. I want everybody here to get along, even if you do support Andrew Cuomo. But I'm trying to make people aware of how much harder life is going to be for us in New York if Andrew Cuomo gets reelected. This is coming from somebody who was a staunch Democrat. I grew up as a very staunch Democrat. All right, when I was a younger guy, I always voted Democrat, always. All right, things started changing when I got older, and things really started changing when I saw what was going on in Westbury, and I saw that the Democrat Party supported the kind of people that were coming into Westbury, causing crime, causing bringing the gangs, ruining our quality of life. And at that point, I realized the Democratic Party was no longer a party that cared about me, and instead they cared more about these people coming to the country without permission, illegally, and causing problems in the community. And that is when I stopped being a Democrat. And I apologize for the music here. I don't know, people blasting music, I don't know, just that's what they do, I guess. But hopefully it doesn't. YouTube is a pain with that, so now I got to talk even louder to make sure I don't get copyright. And YouTube is a pain with that. It really is. If there's music in the background, there's nothing I can do when I'm in a public place and it's playing. Obviously they have a game going on, so they're playing some music. That's what it is in sports. They blast the music. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. The Democrats, they wanted to take all the services I get, and give them to these people who just came in here and they're not even citizens. And I couldn't support that. And so I've seen, under Democratic control of the state, of our governor, a lot of harmful things happen to me, particularly with public transportation. And Nice Bus, Nice Bus is a disaster. And continues to be a disaster. And yes, it was a Republican county executive, Ed Mangano, that decided to get rid of MTA Long Island Bus. But our governor, Andrew Cuomo, could have stepped in and said, you can't do that. This is an essential public transportation service that a lot of people rely on. I'm not going to have the state support Nice Bus. But instead, he just let his buddy Ed Mangano, because they're best buddies, he let them do whatever they want. And that's really unfortunate, because a lot of people suffer. We suffered a lot of cuts. It's a lot harder for me to get around. There are a lot of bus routes that don't exist anymore. Bus routes don't run as often. And then there's the unreliability. There's no maintenance. The buses are always breaking down. And this is all due to Andrew Cuomo letting this happen. He didn't have to let it happen. And even though Ed Mangano is no longer our county executive, we have Laura Curran, who is continuing the problems by, she doesn't want to get rid of the Nice Bus. Jack Martins, who was a Republican, wanted to bring MTA back. He realized that Nice Bus was a mistake. He said it several times, but that never happened. And Cuomo doesn't really support regional public transportation systems, all right? If Cuomo was our governor back in the 90s, we probably never would have had MetroCard. It was George Pataki, who was the last decent governor of the state. He brought us MetroCard. He brought us MetroCard, which unified a lot of public transportation systems. And he was a Republican, all right? He did great things for preserving the Pine Barrens. The MTA was in great shape when George Pataki was our governor. There were a lot of service improvements going on, and there was a lot of publicity. One system that gets you where you need to go. Remember George Pataki? MTA Long Island Railroad, MTA New York City Transit, MTA Long Island Bus. I remember those commercials. That was George Pataki. Cuomo, you don't see him around. And the reliability of the whole MTA system is suffering. And it's not just Nice Bus riders, it's Long Island Railroad. As we know, the main line has dealt with a significant impact with all the problems going on with poor maintenance of the tracks. Signal problems, and then there are problems on other branches too that aren't the Babylon branch, because the Babylon branch gets the best treatment, because Cuomo. Here's the thing for all those Democrats, and this is why I was a Democrat when I was younger, and I hold those old-fashioned Democratic deals. I feel that the rich people, particularly Wall Street and the banks, have way too much power. But unfortunately, Cuomo is a corporate Democrat. He is working with Wall Street and the banks. And if you have somebody who is working with Wall Street and the banks, they're generally going to be working against you. And that's the thing. So Cuomo didn't come from that. I don't think he came I think his father came from a poor upbringing, but I don't think his son did. You know, so Cuomo's out of touch with what people are struggling with in this state. And 4 more years of Cuomo are going to mean more of these problems at the Long Island Railroad, and the problems at New York City Transit are going to continue. The MTA is in some serious budget problems because of funding issues, but also because there's a lot of mismanagement at the MTA. And I think a lot of it relates to the MTA board. Cuomo could have gone and said, you know what, MTA, we're having so many problems with the MTA, you're all out. I'm going to put a new board in, like Phil Murphy did at New Jersey Transit. Did he do that? No, he hasn't done a damn thing about that. Let's go back to the Moreland Commission. And when there was an investigation going on with that, once they got close to Cuomo, Cuomo's like, that's it, shutting it down. Cuomo is in on a lot of shady stuff, all right? And I'm trying to convince my loyal friends, and I really wish Kevin would. He has every right to support Andrew Cuomo. Obviously, he does. He's made comments about it, and he has every right to. That's his right as a you know he wants to always vote Democrat. Maybe that's why. But understand that Cuomo is working against a lot of the things you support. All right, he's working against good public transportation. All right, yes, he's getting some of these projects done. I understand that he's getting some of these projects done, but the thing is that the cost of that is that there's no maintenance going on, that the man does not support a regional public transportation network, and it actually costs the state more to support all these separate bus operations than to have them all merged into MTA. When George Pataki was the governor, there was a plan to merge. Long Island Bus obviously was going to be brought under complete control of the MTA, and was in its final years before Knights came along. And Suffolk County, Westchester, the whole downstate area, any area that is served by MTA commuter railroads, any area that's in the MTA commuter region, that would be Nassau, Suffolk, New York City, Westchester, Rockland, I think Putnam County too, would be brought under the MTA umbrella, and MTA would operate all the transportation services in those areas. This would be cheaper for the state to fund because it would be one system, and it would bring more reliable transit to everybody. And that was the plan. And then when Governor Cuomo got in office, that kind of just went by the wayside. That was all part of a recommendation from the Ravage Commission. Now we have a hodgepodge of unorganized public transportation systems. We have people getting stranded, not just a Nice bus, but on the Long Island Railroad, even New York City Transit. People are getting stranded. And I don't want to make this a class warfare thing where, it's us versus the people in the block on the Babylon branch, because all these problems affect them sometimes too, all right? We need reliable public transportation. Governor Cuomo hasn't addressed the crisis that's going on right now. He has not even shown his face or even spoken much about it. He has been hiding. All he does is run his mouth about how great he is, all right? And if you've seen that debate, you could see what an arrogant jerk Cuomo acted like, all right? Very much like Governor Chris Christie, who was a Republican governor of New Jersey who I didn't like, all right? He did a lot of bad things for transit and the environment too, all right? Marc Molinaro came off as very cool and level-headed, all right? He kept it cool. He didn't lose his temper. He was level-headed, and he made his point, and he made it very well. And I think his vision for New York State would be a lot better than Andrew Cuomo, all right? And Cuomo just keeps trying to link him to Trump. You're not running against Trump. You're running against Marc Molinaro, Mr. Cuomo. But Cuomo just kept trying to bully him. Cuomo acted like a bully, the way he was acting, all right? And he really acted like, especially when we got into talking about some of the shady things that Cuomo's done, he got very defensive about that because that's the behavior of a guilty man. He's definitely in there with Mangano. He's definitely in there with a lot of crooked things going on, all right, in this state. I really would like to see Marc Molinaro be our next governor. And I know a lot of you say that's never going to happen. This is a Democratic state. Blue always votes Democrat. Well, we did elect George Pataki, didn't we? Actually, he had 2 terms. So we did have, a Republican governor. It happened then, and it can happen now. And here's the ironic thing about it. Cuomo's father, Mario Cuomo, was running for, I believe, a 3rd term and lost to George Pataki. It was a big surprise. That can happen again. And Andrew Cuomo could lose to Marc Molinaro because there are a lot of people I speak to in this state that are disgusted with the cost of everything. They're disgusted with the transportation falling apart, our roads, and the crime and the homelessness that is everywhere in this state. It is out of control, and we need to do something about it. We need to enforce the law. We need a governor that's going to support the police. Andrew Cuomo doesn't support the police. He's against the police. All right. MTA police have said to me, and pretty much when they try to address these problems with the homeless, that their hands are tied. The governor supports not letting them take these homeless people away. And look, all right, the homeless people, they need help. They shouldn't be out on the street, and you can't be living outside. It's not a way for a human to live. It's not a way for a human to live in the train station, getting drunk, doing drugs, causing problems, causing harm to others and themselves. These people need help, and they need to be, put in programs whether they like it or not. It's for their benefit. They don't see it because they're too sick to see it, but it is for their benefit that they go into these programs. Their life will be much better, and the lives of people who use the train station will be much better. But Andrew Cuomo just doesn't want to have that. He wants to follow Bill de Blasio. And especially, I think, in this election, I think Cuomo has gone a lot to the left to try to get that vote, that left vote, because of Cynthia Nixon, the challenge from Cynthia Nixon. That's some of my thoughts on the election. 4 more years of Cuomo, it's going to make my life hard. Sure, there are going to be a lot of good things happening. We have the third track project that's going to be completed. We're going to have, that'll be done hopefully in maybe 5 years. That'll improve, hopefully, service on the main line. Hopefully. But here's the thing. Will it be done right? We take a look at Hicksville, and we take a look at how crappy the Hicksville train station looks and the crappy materials it was built with, like whatever the hell they use, this stucco or whatever the hell they use, this cheap stuff, and all the glass. These glass waiting rooms literally are going to be cold because there's no brickwork, there's no insulation. Whereas Wontauk, it's brickwork and looks nice. It was built well. It's got some nice artwork. It's an appealing station to look at. Whereas Hicksville, sure, Hicksville looks a lot better than it did, but it doesn't look as good as it could have looked and should have looked. That is the way I feel about that. Hicksville really could have looked. It should have looked the same as Wontauk. It should have had a steel canopy instead of that plexiglass, which is going to blow away in a storm. Hicksville was not built well, and again, that all goes to that block that gets what they want. That white homogeneous finance professional block that has a lot of control over the MTA board, and that is it works with the governor, people like Todd Kaminsky, to make sure that their area gets the best. And you even see that favoritism even on the Babylon branch itself. Whereas Merrick and Massapequa pretty much have all new stations now. Whereas even Rockville Center, which has a lot of wealthy people in it, it's an expensive area to live. Their station could use some work. It definitely could use some new lighting. If you watched MTA Prodigy's video, you can see it. You need some new lighting. It needs some maybe some platform work. The speakers definitely need to be replaced. They're not using JBL speakers. It's Rockville Center. It's a very busy station, actually, too. Well, it's actually a busier station than Wontauk, much busier. But yet, Wontauk gets redone. That's all. That's what I'm trying to say. The favoritism. But I still think Rockville Center has it pretty good. I mean, compared to the main line, I think they have it very good. And of course Cuomo is looking out for them by trying to do that project at Hempstead Lake so they don't have flooding in their area, which is ridiculous and a stupid idea. And I don't know what the hell's with our governor. He hasn't done it a lot. I'm just going to leave it at this because that's the core mission of our channel. It's always been, is to protect the environment. And Cuomo has failed huge with that. We have seen, since Governor Cuomo has taken office, the largest loss of land in the Pine Barrens that has ever taken place. Between the solar farms, between the development in Riverhead, and then these new developments that are proposed, such as Heartland Town Center, in Edgewood Preserve, in Deer Park. It might be considered Comac, or some part of it's Comac. It's like in different towns. It's the old Pilgrim site, which should be turned into a state park. That was done with Nisququag State Park. There was a Kings Park Psychiatric Center. That was turned into a state park. So why don't they do the same thing with Pilgrim? They should do that. So that's good. Looks like somebody just scored a hit there. They should definitely do that with that. All right, turn into a state park would be beautiful. And of course, I don't think the facility should be shut down either. There needs to be inpatient mental health treatment. This is part of the reason why we have a problem with the homeless, because they keep closing these institutions down. We got to stop closing them down. We got to start reopening them, all right, and maybe expanding them a little bit, you know? Some people just can't function in society, you know? And then you have the destruction further out east, the plans for destruction. And the southern pine beetles, of course, which have gotten out of control because of poor management, because we don't have controlled burns in our pine barrens. And our DEC land preserves are not being kept up properly. Again, this is all due to Cuomo. He only cares when he thinks of his idea of the nature is only upstate. He forgets that Long Island has a wilderness, and it's called the Pine Barrens, and he forgets about that. He's been a lousy governor for the Pine Barrens. I think that's most of all what bothers me the most. We could have had a governor that stepped in and said, no, we're not going to have these projects take place. The state is going to come in and buy these lands in Quogue, in Calverton, in Holtzville, in Deer Park, to protect them, to protect what's left of the Pine Barrens. They're very vital for our drinking water, and we're losing our clean drinking water as a result of that. But Cuomo does not care. He just wants to urbanize everything. He is hooked up with Wall Street. Those people stand to make money, a lot of money, after all these developments. They want to just continue to make Long Island expensive. They want to continue to price people like me out, the middle class out, make it a place only for the very rich, and get rid of the working class, get rid of the disabled, and just have it for the very rich. That's what you're going to get with Cuomo. Marc Molinaro came from a very low-income upbringing. He actually relied on food stamps when he was younger. All right, he served the public his entire life, and I think he would be a great governor. And by Andrew Cuomo attacking George Pataki, it shows you that Andrew Cuomo is against taking New York forward, and that is why I cannot support Andrew Cuomo. I am an independent, all right? It's true I do have a tendency to vote for more conservative Republicans these days because I want people who enforce the law. The law is the fabric of this country. The law is what keeps communities safe. And when the laws are not enforced properly, we have the dichotomy that's increased, the disparity between neighborhoods, and the discrimination and the unequal treatment of train stations and discrimination against people who are in programs. This is what happens when the law is not enforced. All right, we need to have the laws enforced. And as a conservative, I think laws need to be enforced. And I think it's a shame. The Democrats have really lost their way. You know, there were plenty of great Democratic presidents, FDR, John F. Kennedy, and you know what? If those people were alive today, they probably would be Republicans. They wouldn't even recognize their own party. Their party has become a party of elitists, Wall Street, the banks, the far left, and no longer really supports America anymore. So that is going to conclude this video here. I know I rambled on for quite a bit of time. I don't know how long I've been talking for, almost 20 minutes now in this spot. But I love America. I love Long Island. And I don't think that Andrew Cuomo is going to make it better. He's only going to make it worse. 4 more years is going to be very hard for me. If he gets 4 more years, you know the prices of things could still go up. The fares are going to go up on the MTA, which I can't afford. These fares keep going up, and there's going to be more problems with homeless and crime in our neighborhoods. And of course, it's going to be yours truly who's going to have to deal with that. It's not going to be going to the rich areas. Obviously, it'll be going to my neighborhood, and it's going to be hard to get around. More and more problems with public transportation. I'm not going to be able to rely on public transportation to get around anymore. And then, most important of all, and lastly, but definitely most important of all, there's going to be more problems in the Pine Barrens. We're going to lose more of our Pine Barrens to southern pine beetles. We are going to lose more of our Pine Barrens to overdevelopment, and we're going to have more pollution in our Pine Barrens, garbage and homeless people living in there because the governor doesn't support the rule of law. So that is what I'm concerned about, and I've made this one more plea to you to please vote for Marc Molinaro because my life does depend on it, and the lives of many other people in New York and Long Island depend on it. If you're a finance professional, you'll do great with Cuomo, but for the rest of us, we are going to suffer and suffer more and more and more. And almost many of my fellow Long Islanders that I speak to share the same kind of disgust for Cuomo. And we as Long Islanders, I know New York City has a lot of voting bloc, but we as Long Islanders need to come out on Election Day and send Cuomo a message that we will not tolerate another 4 more years. And even if Cuomo does get reelected, it should be a closer election than thought, all right? Because if he wins by a landslide, it's like a mandate for him. We can't have that. We cannot be sheeple. We have to stand up for what's right in New York and stand up for our environment, our quality of life, and throw Cuomo out on Election Day. Marc Molinaro has some very good ideas. I think he's going to be very much like George Pataki, who was a great governor. And I think if he became our governor, we could really have a real chance of getting MTA back here in Nassau County and have regional bus, which would be great. So that's going to conclude this video here at beautiful, maybe somewhat busy, beautiful Cantiague Park in Hicksville. I want to stay here on Long Island. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay in Mineola, and I don't want to continue to be talking about these environmental issues and some of these issues that the news doesn't talk about. But mainly, I'm all about the Pine Barrens. And when somebody comes in and wants to knock down woods, I have a real problem with that. And we need a governor that's going to come in and actually protect the woods. And also, we need forestry service on Long Island, all right, like New Jersey has. I think it would be great. All right, I'm sorry I have rambled on a lot, but I just want to say that please understand where I'm coming from. If you still want to vote for Cuomo after watching this video, I've done all I can do to try to convince you otherwise. That Cuomo's involved with a lot of bad stuff. He hasn't helped. Even, you've seen your commute get worse, whether you're riding New York City Transit, Long Island Railroad, even Metro North, and bus services throughout the state. If you really think transit's important and supporting good public transportation, sustainable public transportation, then you should know that Andrew Cuomo does not support that. He only supports his big ego. He has these projects to make him look good, but the projects aren't being done right. And we have concerns about future funding of the MTA. Fare hikes, service cuts, there are going to be more people in the cars, more traffic, more pollution in our environment as this planet remains in a climate emergency. This isn't the kind of governor that supports the environment. If he'd supported the environment, he would be improving public transportation. MTA never would have left here. We would have a more reliable Long Island Railroad. We would have better service on the main line. We would have less cars on the road. He would support big taxes on gas guzzling vehicles like SUVs. He isn't supporting that, all right? Because again, he's a corporate Democrat. He's not the kind of Democrats we grew up with, all right? I'm 42 years old. He is not the kind of Democrats that we grew up with. He is a corporate Democrat. He is against us. He is with Wall Street, the banks, the finance professionals, and he's not in our corner. So on Election Day, please vote for Marc Molinaro because he understands what we're going through right now. Even if you're a lifelong Democrat, please, I hope this video convinced you to at least think about not voting for Andrew Cuomo on Election Day. And I really do apologize for rambling on for so long, but I wanted to make this one more video about this because now we have just over a week now to Election Day, and I'm trying to get through to more of you so we can take New York back from the elitists. Thank you for watching. Take care.